All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and then I'll kind of explain what's going on. So this is a regular meeting of the Oakland Board of Ed. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, and a schedule of the regular meetings of the board has been adopted at the reorg last January. A notice of the meetings have been posted and maintained as required by law. I will take a roll. Mrs. Ezekiel?
Here.
Mrs. Falpel?
Here.
Mr. Stotts?
Here.
Mrs. Rotondo?
Here.
Mr. McMillan?
Here.
Mr. Tavy?
Here.
Okay, may I have a pledge of allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so little explanation. Our president and vice president are not here tonight. So in section 3, I'm actually going to request nominations so we can elect a chairperson pro tem for the purposes of conducting tonight's board meeting. So may I have a nominee to be chairman pro tem?
I nominate Rich.
Second.
Rich, do you accept?
Yes.
Meeting is yours. Thank you.
Section 4, we have committee of the whole. Do any of the board members have something to bring to the group?
Happy holidays.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Hearing none, we will close committee of the whole. Section 5, future dates and miscellaneous information. Upcoming dates we have on December or at events. December 11th, we had an early dismissal, parent-teacher conferences. On the 15th was OMASAC gym night for 4th and 5th grade. 16th, we had our PTA winter event in the school cafeteria. The 19th tonight is our monthly board meeting, and moving forward through the rest of the week, we have on the 21st our band and choir holiday concert. That'll be at 2 p.m. December 22nd is an early dismissal day, which is 12:30 p.m., and the start of winter break. We're closed from the 25th through January 1st. On January 2nd, students and staff will return to school. Also on January 2nd, we'll have the Board of Education reorganization meeting. That'll be held here in the school library at 6:30 p.m. Moving on to Section 6, approval of board minutes. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We will open our first public comment section. Please stand, state your name and address, and keep comments to 5 minutes or less. The purpose for this public comment section is to discuss items listed on the board agenda for tonight. Any general comments will be made during the second public comment portion. Any public comment on the board agenda for tonight? All right, hearing none, we will close the first public comment section and turn over to the superintendent for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out this cold night. Section 8.01 is the district enrollment report. November 22 was 279. November of 2023 is 269 with the report attached. 8.02 and 03 are the safety drill and suspension reports. And .05 is the child study team reports. I would also like to, for the record, like to publicly acknowledge that Collingswood High School experienced a significant loss in their staff on Friday, December 15th. It is extremely unfortunate that we lost school office manager Lisa Marchione, and her services will be this week. She was a valued colleague, friend, community member, former Collingswood parent. Both of her children came up through the system, and she dedicated a significant amount of time to the students, the families, and the Collingswood community, and just wanted to make sure that we keep her family in our thoughts and acknowledge the extreme loss that we are experiencing publicly. Thank you.
All right, Section 9, Business Administrator Board Secretary Report.
Thank you very much. And item 9.01 is the listing of your monthly budget transfers for the month of November. 9.02 are all of your financial statements, including the Board Secretary Treasurer's Report and your cash report. 9.03 is your December purchase orders that have been issued. And the 9.04 is a listing of the warrants that will be paid tomorrow morning upon approval this evening. And if you're all right with it, I'm just going to keep rolling into the Finance Committee report. So items 10.01 through 10.06 are those items that I just mentioned. In 10.07, we're seeking approval for a revised shared service agreement for administrative services. This is the shared service agreement with Collingswood. We revised it due to the absence of Jen McPartland. 10.08 is the shared service agreement for the 24-25 school year for the shared media specialist agreement. 10.09 is the shared 2024-2025 custodial maintenance service agreement with Collingswood. And then we have one use of facilities request, and that's item 10.10, and that's with the OC Panthers basketball from February to May. And with that, items 10.01 through 10.10 is what I need approval on.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, to a vote.
Mrs. Ezekiel,
Yes.
Mrs. Falpel,
Yes.
Mr. Stotts,
Yes.
Mrs. Rotondo,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes.
Mr. Tavy.
Yes.
I'll do the next one. Well, the chair people are absent today.
All
right, so- Curriculum and personnel. So item 11.01 is an out-of-district placement for a student to attend the counselor program at Virtua for about 2 to 8 weeks, depending on the duration. So we are responsible for tuition and transportation. 11.02 is disapproving Gloucester County Special Services District, their CRUS program, to provide deaf services for a student we have enrolled there in grade 2. 11.03 is just approving the following staff members that are listed. They helped Jen McPartland do some edits of our curriculum in anticipation of our QSAC visit that's coming at the end of January. 11.04 is a listing of our after-school clubs that are going to be paid out of our remaining ESSER funds for the rest of the school year. 11.05 is the tuition reimbursement pursuant to the OEA contract. 11.06 is a revised contract giving Mrs. Bolden a stipend to do all this extracurriculum work in anticipation of our QSAC visit. And that is it. So 11.01 through 11.06.
All right, do we have a motion to approve items 11.01 to 11.06?
So moved.
Second.
To a vote.
Mrs. Ezekiel,
Yes.
Mrs. Falpel,
Yes.
Mr. Stotts,
Yes.
Mrs. Rotondo,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes.
Mr. Tavy.
Yes. Okay. Section 12, School Community Relations and Policy Committee.
Hi, I'm stepping in for Therese Mermian tonight. So on agenda 12.01, we have the PTA liaison report. She wrote that the PTA met on 12/5. There was great participation in the Collingswood Thanksgiving Day Parade on 11/25. There's a successful winter event on 12/16. The 5th grade promotion committee candy gram sale is being distributed on 12/22. Class parties are also on 12/22. January Family Fun Night will be held at Hot Wheels. More info coming soon. Oaklyn PTA Community Blood Drive will be on January 27th. Plans are coming together for the 2024 talent show on March 1st, and the next meeting will be on January 9th at 6:30 at the library. Section 1202, OMASAC, again, filling in for Therese. The OMASAC update is there's no meeting since the last Board of Education meeting. On 12/15, Gym Nights welcomed 38 students, 1 counselor, and 7 chaperones, and it was very fun. Her words. I'm sure it was. Working with Collingswood High School on a possible partnership about anti-vaping. And the next meeting will be January 22nd at 7:30. And that brings us to 12:03 for Collingswood with Mr. Stelz.
Thanks, Jimmy. All right, we've had 2 meetings at Collingswood since our last meeting. The 11/27 meeting, there were presentations which included a preview of the middle school play, newsies, and elementary updates. There was an update on board goals. There were a couple of public comments. I want to see quickly if I could see what they were. Dealing with the budget, and I would expect from the individual that was doing it, was also dealing with the liaison officer. He shows up every month to do that. Oh, I missed yesterday. Didn't discuss the liaison officer. I was disappointed. The superintendent discussed, excuse me, the good that's happened in Collingswood over a period of time. It was a rather long presentation. Dr. McDowell was in good form. It took him about 30 minutes to go through all of that stuff, or it means that there's a lot of good stuff happening in Collingswood, which is even better. They approved the comprehensive maintenance plan. The Burlington County Insurance, re-upping with the Burlington County Insurance Plan. Lease of pre-K space with Oaklyn, and the district engineers. There was some impact on high impact tutoring grant, high intensity tutoring grant, mental health grant. Collingswood seems to be getting a lot of mental health grants, or not mental health, all grants. Dr. Principato, I guess, is the principal person pushing that, but she seems to do a good job with that. They approved school trips and senior privilege for one student. They approved some resignations, a dismissal, and a revision in one individual's retirement. They approved hiring an assistant BA at $101,000. They approved winter athletic personnel. They approved high-intensity tutors and also the substitutes. They approved new policies on the first and second reading and abolished one. And they adjourned at 8:40. After starting at 5 o'clock, so that's the normal Collingswood meeting. Last night was much different. It was a much shorter meeting. There was a moment of silence to begin the meeting with for Lisa Marchione, which Dr. McDowell discussed a little earlier. There was a presentation of a plaque to Fiona Henry for her service on the board. Last night was her last meeting. She's been there, I believe she said 13 years. So she's calling it quits. I hate her. Excuse me. They approved shared services accounts with Oaklyn and for administrative services, and the revised, the administrative services was revised, as Beth Ann had mentioned, for the reduction of Jen McPartland. And there's also a shared service for a media specialist, the librarian. They approved the draft of an RFP for a curriculum audit. They accepted a grant for high school tutoring. They approved Huntington Learning Center for the high-impact grant that was just mentioned above. They approved high school field trips, including one overnight trip for middle school. They approved high school, excuse me, approved high school, and I can't read my wording, program with, the high school college program where the kids get credit for college for certain courses. They've been doing that for a couple of years now. Great program, so it's been approved again. They approved two resignations and, they approved two retirements and one resignation. They approved 3 student teachers for the spring of '24. They approved 7 policies on first reading and 5 on the second reading. They approved a HIB report for November, and they adjourned at 7:10 p.m. Anybody have any questions on any of that? Good, thank you.
All right, continuing to section 1204. That's Oaklyn Education Foundation. That's me. I reached out to OEF, and I haven't heard anything back. I've requested a meeting to come up, and haven't heard anything back. So I guess I'm gonna push the bill a little bit harder coming in next year and see if we can get a meeting going. So get something going. Section 12.05. First reading of policies. The following policies are presented for a first reading. Policy 61112, reimbursement for federal and other grant expenditures is revised. 61115.04 is federal funding or federal funds duplications of benefits. That's a new policy. And 6311, contracts for goods of services funded by federal grants, which is revised. Section 1206 is second policies or policies second reading. Move on the recommendations of the superintendent to approve the following policies as presented. That's 3217, the use of corporal punishment, revised. 4217, the use of corporal punishment, new. 5305, student services personnel, revised. 5308, student health records, revised. And 5310, health services, revised. And finally 8500 at food services, revised. And that's all for section 12. Beth Ann, do I continue on the?
You could just say you're looking for approvals for 10,
All right, cool.
05 and 06.
All right.
That's it.
So yeah, I'm just looking for approval for section 1205 and 1206 for the policies first reading and second reading.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded, and let's do a vote.
Excuse me. Mrs. Ezekiel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hallbell,
Yes.
Mr. Stotts,
Yes.
Mrs. Rotundo,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes.
Mr. Tavy.
Yes. All right, approved. We'll move on to section 13, our second public comment section for the evening. Please stand, state your name and address, and keep comments to 5 minutes or less. Any public comments? All right, having none, we'll close the public comment section and on to section 14. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? So moved.
And happy holidays, everybody.